Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a while. It's been far too long. That's our fault. My fault. Massimo's fault. Paul's
Yeah,
fault. It's the
definitely.
team's fault. We just life happens. Let's just say that life happens. But we're back for episode 19 of Unmatched. Jesus, it's been damn. We got so much to talk about
It's been a long
in so
time.
little time. But we're gonna come back with some consistency because consistency is key to have success in pretty much anything. So we're back. It's good to be back. We're gonna start off with some NFL talk. We're a day away from Thursday night football tomorrow night. Big game, huge game. One of the bigger games left in the season. Green Bay Packers, who are third in the NFC North, versus the Detroit Lions. Shout out to Kurt Cote, who are first place in the NFC as a whole, let alone the NFC North.
That whole
This
division is tight.
it's a tight
Yeah.
division, and this is make or break for the Packers as it pertains to them winning the division. The Lions, yeah, the Lions still have some tough games though, so that's why this is huge because I believe the Lions still have to play the Vikings again, and they have to play the Buffalo Bills. So Williams leave a score.
Yep.
So we're gonna see the injuries on the defensive end for the Lions have piled up. Obviously, we know you lose a
Yeah.
guy like Aiden Hutchinson, and even without Aiden Hutchinson, they still have been fantastic
Their
defensively.
defense, I think their numbers have gone up since
Yeah,
Hutchinson's got hurt, which is
which is
crazy.
crazy because I
Yeah.
was alarmed that their defense was really going to struggle without a guy like Aiden Hutchinson because he was on. Honestly, he probably would have won Defensive Player of the Year
Yeah, I
hmm
think so too.
just because of the numbers he had. Like was leading the league in sacks before he got injured.
He was still leading the
Um,
sack in sacks for like 3 more weeks afterwards, which
exactly,
showed how
and
big the lead he had.
T.J. Watt had a bit of a dry spell for a bit, even though he played very well this past weekend. But it's a huge game. It's a huge game, and I'm excited to see what happens. Uh, but I think the Lions, as of late, if I had to bet my money on who was coming out of the NFC, I would say the Eagles. Just because they just look so good. They look offensively deadly. The defense is good. Jalen Carter's seemed to found himself. And, Jalen Carter's a guy that was going to be the first overall pick, if not for the off the field issues
Yeah.
coming out of Georgia. So Jalen Carter's been an absolute beast. So I really do think it's going to be a tough one in the NFC. Honestly, the NFC is seemingly tougher than the AFC, and you would have not thought that
Yeah.
coming into this season,
Yeah.
right? But the Bengals take a step back. The Houston Texans don't look as good as everyone thought they would. The
No.
Chiefs, I still believe in them, but it doesn't
They don't
look
look.
as
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
No.
The Bills are the only team that really look good in the
Yeah.
AFC, and the Steelers, of course. Ravens can't find themselves. I don't know. It's very interesting. Very
It's
interesting to see.
surprising out of all the teams we named that like the Bills are the best looking of the bunch.
Yeah,
Yeah, a
yeah.
lot of people before the season thought they could finish third in the division,
Yeah.
right? Everyone was very high on the Jets and then high on the Dolphins. Everyone thought with all the defensive players that left the Bills this offseason that they would take a step backwards. Kind of looks like
Me.
they took the step forwards. And having trading for Amari Cooper really helped
Yeah.
since
Yeah.
that trade, right? So
No, it's been huge. But what do you guys have winning tomorrow's game?
I say the Lions. It's I haven't seen anything like otherwise. Like they haven't really faltered, bar the Goff 5 pick game, right? Like they haven't. There's it's them and the Chiefs have one loss on the season, right?
Yeah,
Like their offense has been dynamic. Their running game is deadly with the Montgomery and Gibbs. You have multiple receiving threats on that team with St. Brown, Laporta, Williams. Like it's just there's so many weapons on that team, and Love for the last 3 weeks has been better, but throughout the season, he's kind of been a little inconsistent. I don't know if that had to do early on with the injuries, him being banged up, being in and out of games or whatever. But he's always that question mark. Like maybe it's again he shines better in the second half of seasons. That's what he did last year. Maybe it's the same thing he's going to do this year.
Kind of like Joe Burrow.
Yeah, like it's just you kind of play your way into game shape in a way, not really like because he was out of shape, but just like you build your momentum through actually playing than practicing in the off season. So it's going to be a close game, but I give the edge to the Lions. But again, Green Bay's receiving is deadly because you don't know who's going to beat you each week because they have a different guy every week that somehow shows up. And then Josh Jacobs has been deadly all year since he's been there.
That's the type of running back that they needed, right? A guy who can really establish a run game. Like, I love Aaron Jones. I think he's a good dual threat.
And he's been great in Minnesota, right? Like,
but Aaron Jones is nowhere near the better runner of the football than Josh Jacobs is. So that's really what they've needed. Jordan Love's, like you said, he's been a little inconsistent, and I'm just kind of like, sometimes I'm just like, I still feel uncertain given the contract that he signed.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Like, that contract that he signed is you're basing that off of 8 games, right?
Exactly.
So, 8 good games. Excuse me, 8 good games, not just 8 games. So, I mean, I have faith in the team. They're a well-coached team. Matt LaFleur is a very good coach, but I have my doubts about the team. I do have my doubts. So I'm also going to lean towards the Lions in tomorrow's game. Okay, so other games we mentioned Lions and Packers. Some other big games that we'd like to cross on before we give our lady MVP candidates. Cardinals Seahawks. And going into the season, I wouldn't have thought that at this time of the year would have been a big game. But that division, the NFC West, is totally up for grabs. You have the Niners, who have been riddled with injuries and are in last place, are only 2 games behind Seahawks, who are in first. I believe the Seahawks are 7-5, and the Niners are 5-7. So big final 5 weeks for every team in that division. I want to say with a win, the Cardinals would move up to the first spot in the division.
I think we lost to the Seahawks. We
so
lost to the Seahawks prior, so we're actually.
So you would need a win.
We definitely need a win, and it would put us at the exact same record and exact heads up. It'd be 1-1.
And what about the divisional record?
Divisional record. Oh, I gotta go back. We beat the 49ers. Let me check because I know
the Seahawks lost to the Niners and beat them, I believe, or they still have another game against them.
So we beat the Rams, we beat the 49ers, and we lost to the Seahawks. So we'd be
2-1.
2-1. If we win, we'd be 3-1. Then if I go with the Seahawks, sorry, multiple things. If I go to the Seahawks, they lost to the 49ers, lost to the Rams, beat the 49ers, so they're 1 and beat us, so they're 2-2.
So I think you guys would
take the head with a win.
We would take the head.
Exactly. So big game. Kyler and the Cardinals they've looked good. They've been competitive. You know what I mean? Like, I love the acquisition of Marvin Harrison Jr. He didn't take the strides that I thought he would, given how much hype was surrounding him. Obviously, it's his rookie season. Like, I'm not saying he's going to be a bad receiver, but he's been pretty solid. I'll give him that. And Kyler, I've always thought Kyler was a good quarterback. It's just injury, and before this season, not really great teams in front of him since that first season that they acquired DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah.
So. Big game, and for the Seahawks, it's been Geno Smith's been a little bit turnover prone, which I don't love, but I love their offense. I love Kenneth Walker. Atlanta Falcons versus Minnesota Vikings. Now, before this season, people were looking at me like a madman because I said Russell Wilson's better than Kirk Cousins. I did, and people thought I was crazy. And I'm not crazy because Kirk Cousins, with
Last 3 weeks has been ass.
the roster that he has, that team has no business being 6-6. And guess what? Russell Wilson didn't play every game, but he's 5-1. He's 5-1 as a Steelers quarterback, and he just threw for 400 yards.
So it's
So
probably his best game of the season last week.
yeah, absolutely. So the Falcons, I mean, luckily once again, this is another division that's not very good. So they're still leading it because they beat the Buccaneers twice, so they have the tiebreaker. As long as they remain level or obviously higher, then they're good. But they got tough games, and you got to go out there and beat the Vikings. You got Bijan Robinson. Yeah. You have Drake London. You have Kyle Pitts. You signed Matthew Judon in the offseason. You have good corners. You have the best safety duo in the league in Jesse Bates and Justin Simmons. Like, there's no reason for this team to be 6-6, especially when you're in a weak division.
Yeah.
If they lose this week, you think they switch quarterbacks? Because his last 3 games,
I told you
0 TDs, 6 interceptions, and they lost all 3, right? So it's like,
I told you at the beginning of the season that I would rather have Michael Penix starting than Kirk Cousins.
You would further back.
So
if he plays like ass again, I'm dropping him.
Weeks.
It's just crazy that he gets that contract.
I get it. He has 2 more years after this. He signed a 3-year deal or a 4-year deal?
I'm not sure.
3.
It's just crazy with that contract.
And
they shouldn't have signed him to begin with.
That's what I was saying. Like, you went further back and not saying he doesn't have the starting job. He just shouldn't have a job on that team.
Yes. They should have allocated those resources to filling out the roster and just ride on Michael Penix. It's that simple.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
So, kind of like what the Broncos did, right? Like, I mean, they didn't have a lot of cap space because of the Russell Wilson and all that, but the roster's filled out where the quarterback can just play decent most weeks and they have a great record.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
It's just odd because you have the ability to kind of go with a rookie QB, especially in that division, right? It being on the weaker side. Like this, I feel like this would be the opportunity to, like, you can have him grow in his rookie season, start, and still potentially make playoffs because you're in that weaker division.
Or they could have done the Vikings route and signed Sam Darnold for 1 year and just let him play, and they would have a better record than they do right now with Sam Darnold. Like, the way Sam Darnold's played this season, like, he started off great.
Is also Kevin O'Connell, who's a great coach.
Oh, for sure. But
right? And he's a better offensive coach than Raheem Morris is.
Yeah,
for sure. But I'm saying with the weapons they have, I feel like Sam Darnold would have done better than what Kirk Cousins is doing right now.
Yeah, a smaller contract and less years.
Yeah, it would have been a 1 year contract like he has now with the Vikings, a 1 year prove it deal, and you're already planning on Michael Penix starting as soon as next year, right?
Yeah.
So, like, and I know, like, what everything they did last offseason didn't really make sense.
But then, like, let's say he proves it as he did this year. Like, where do you go from there?
But even for the Vikings, he's not the Vikings quarterback next season. There's no shot. Like, he can bring them as far as he wants in the playoffs. I still don't think he's back with the Vikings next year. They spent a high draft pick on JJ McCarthy.
It's a weird.
Yeah, it's
weird.
A weird situation to be in, but never a bad one.
Someone will pay him. But, and then I don't think he's going to be as good because you're not going to have the weapons that you do.
Depends the offensive coaching and the team he goes to. I mean, it depends for
Maybe he goes back with the Jets. The Jets need a quarterback next year.
Yeah, they also need a coach.
Yeah, they have quite a few things.
They need a lot of things.
Which is sad because all of us had high expectations or higher expectations this season.
It would be kind of funny if he would go to the Giants. Because same city,
it's
trying to prove it better.
Possibility.
They don't have a quarterback. I mean, they're probably going to have a high pick.
Odegaard got subbed off in the 90th. Please don't tell me it's Calafiore, bro.
No, it's Jorginho.
I would have been so fucking pissed.
It's fine. It secures my 3 points on him for the clean sheet.
Yeah. What was it? Okay, so Chargers versus Chiefs.
Yeah.
Huge game in the division. The Chiefs have not clinched the division yet, but luckily for them, their schedule is not too difficult. They do have to play the Chargers this week. Obviously, they do have to play the Steelers,
Broncos.
and the Broncos. But I think that's doable for them. The Steelers have never beaten the Chiefs in the Patrick Mahomes era. Never, not once. I know that they don't look great, but you get a guy like Isaiah Pacheco back. Now you have a dual threat running back system with Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco, which I think is fantastic for the team. But Mahomes got to play better. It's that simple. You know what I mean? Like,
but he has been playing better the last couple weeks.
The
Like the first half of the
he needs to be
season.
Patrick Mahomes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm saying the first like 6-7 weeks of the year, he was playing a touchdown to an interception ratio, which for Mahomes is, I mean, for anyone it's brutal. For Mahomes, it's unheard of.
Yeah.
So at least for the last 4 weeks, his play has been better, even though they're still not winning convincing games. It's kind of like when the offense starts to play better, the defense kind of tailed back a little bit, which is weird because the Chiefs' defense has been great for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, it's definitely going to be an enticing match. And since Justin Herbert's been on the team, even before Justin Herbert with Phillip Rivers, they've always had some good games.
Yeah.
But as to the Chargers, I thought they were going to be good. I didn't think they would be this solid. Like, I thought Jim Harbaugh would make some changes and show progression with the team.
Mm-hmm.
But they're 8-4, right?
Yeah.
Like,
they're playing risk-free football, right? Like Herbert has 1 pick all year.
Yeah.
But it's a shame. Like they're not really throwing the ball. I mean, J.K. Dobbins is on IR now, which is a big loss.
Which is unfortunate. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like they're gonna have to change a bit of how they played because they did run the ball so heavy. I mean, that's just Harbaugh's way of playing football. It's very run heavy. So we'll have to see. Herbert's gonna have to take risks if they beat the Chiefs.
But the problem is that they don't have the weapons to take those risks. I like Ladd McConkey.
He's been killing it all
But
year.
you may
especially
not,
the last 5 weeks.
You may not need to take the risks. Like, it's the shakiest 11-1 I've seen. Like, you know what I mean? You've got a couple of games coming down to a blocked field goal, last minute TD. Like,
they're not more shaky than the 11-1 Steelers.
No, but I'm saying it's a pretty shaky 11-1. Seeing how 3-4 games could have been a coin toss, like, you know what I mean? So
7.
Fair. But that's what I'm saying is, like, the safe play might be in their benefit, seeing the state of play they've been in.
Yeah, because their defense is good, right? You got Khalil Mack, you got Bosa,
you know what I mean?
You got Derwin James, you got Asante Samuel Jr. Like, they have a good defense, and Jim Harbaugh knows how to coach defenses.
Like, the fact that KC is not playing that, like, highlight football we're used to, safe might actually be in the benefit of Chargers.
Yeah. Absolutely. As for the Buffalo Bills versus the LA Rams. Now, it's not the biggest of games, but I think it could be a trap game for the Bills because next week they got to play the Detroit Lions. And you don't want to look ahead and whatever. Like, these guys are veterans. Josh Allen's been in the league for a while. Sean McDermott's been a head coach for quite a while. So I'm not saying that, they're overlooking the Rams, but you got to be careful because the Rams offense is good. Right? Kyron Williams, Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, these guys are healthy now. You got Blake Corum as your backup running back.
Yeah.
Like,
finally used him last week.
Yeah, and Matthew Stafford's a veteran. You know what I mean?
It's a big game for the Rams because they are tied in terms of record. We didn't go over the divisional record for them, but if they win that, depending on their divisional record, could actually put them at the top.
Yeah. And the Bills clinched the division last week, right? So you might think that they let off the gas. I mean, they're still gunning for the number 1 seed, right? You want to buy, but like you never know if the team like kind of takes their foot off the gas after they know they've won the division.
Listen, they of course they're gunning for the 1 seed, but they also gotta be careful. Where they're at right now is good because they don't have to play the Ravens, and they wouldn't have to play the Broncos. No, sorry, they would be playing the Broncos. So out of those, like, I'd rather play the Broncos than play the
Yes.
Chargers or the Ravens.
Yes.
You know
For
what
sure.
I mean? That's just and whatever. Like Chargers and Broncos a little bit closer, but still like
Yeah.
Justin
You'd
Herbert
rather play
has
the rookie
playoff
quarterback.
experience.
Yeah. I
You know
mean,
what I
his
mean?
playoff experience is like the
Won
biggest
2
comeback.
games. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying against the Jags was a 28-0 lead that they choked.
Yeah. Exactly. But now you have a guy like Jim Harbaugh. Like
Jim Harbaugh, that's
like
never gonna happen.
the Broncos, I mean, the Bills definitely should want a gun for that bye week because the AFC wild cards are not going to be easy by any capacity.
No.
Okay, who's your guys' MVP so far?
So, like, it should be Saquon,
Yeah.
but is a running back gonna win the award? Don't know.
I feel like this is going to be all our answers, to be honest with you.
Yeah, like
It's Josh Allen,
should,
but
yes,
it should be
exactly.
Saquon.
It absolutely, like, it should be Saquon, but it's going to be Josh Allen to give him his first MVP. Like,
The only way, sorry to cut you off, the only way Saquon, in my mind, can win it is if he breaks the rushing record.
Yeah,
or
he
if
would
he
have to
rushes
go
for 2,000.
Yeah, that's the only. Yeah, no, I think he has to break the record for him to be MVP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
how far
but
is he?
These
He's
I
on
believe
pace
he's
to
like
do so.
500 yards off.
Okay.
About no, it was like 700 yards off.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the thing that could work into Saquon's benefit is that Josh Allen has to finish the season strong.
That's what I was thinking.
If Josh Allen wins, If Josh Allen wins against the Lions, he plays good, he's winning MVP.
Yeah.
He's MVP. If he loses to the Lions and he loses this week, then it's a possibility that he could.
Yeah.
It's very split.
You know, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's all our answers.
Yeah, it's like it sucks for running backs. Like no one's won it since AP, but like it just is what it is. It's become a quarterback award, and then the offensive player of the year is like the best offensive player
outside of that.
Yeah, so.
Okay, basketball is getting to some What time is it?
It's 5:10.
5:09. We could just do soccer and then, because I know we fucking tangent all the time.
Yeah, let's do basketball another time, bro.
Okay.
Unless you guys really want to talk about ball, but like there's also like we're not going to be able to dedicate the proper amount of time.
No, for sure.
To it, you know, that it would
shout out my boy Payne Pritchard.
Yeah, he's been hooping. All
right,
let's talk some soccer then. I know. So what are we talking? Prem? Let's start off with Man City.
No, we're good.
So Balls Man City, you guys finally
beat us
get back into the
winning game streak.
Yeah, you finally get back into the win column today against Nottingham Forest.
Which is actually wild to say that. Well, look, the bar we set for our team is a lot higher than like it's championship or bust, right? That kind of mentality. It's just crazy to still be in the top 6 with a streak like that, right? We went the whole month of November and got 0 points.
You're only 2 points back from Chelsea and Arsenal.
And got 0 points and 1 point in the Champions League, and like Barry said, 2 points behind second and third.
Second
right?
place. Yeah.
Right, and then Liverpool dropped points today, which helps everyone's cause.
They're still 7 points ahead.
Yeah, but you see what I'm saying? Like, it's just that meant like it's still horrible for any top team, but you're still in a Champions League spot, which is just shows the depth of like how good the team they are. Now, I think the reasoning for it is multiple reasons. Injuries, of course, never help. That I also think it's somewhat of an aging squad. It's very 50-50. You have a lot of 24 and younger, but then after that you have like 7, 8, 9 starting roster players 30 plus.
Yeah.
Where you brought Gundogan back, who had a great season with Barcelona, but he's how old now?
36? Oh, he's even older.
34, right?
Okay.
De Bruyne's getting on there with age, and you can tell injuries are starting to pile up. Now, that being said,
But that's the
he
last
starts
3 years
he
for him,
starts
right?
today and gets a goal and assist. So
Oh, but
his quality
it's never
is
been like when he's on the field he falters. It's just that he's gonna pick up those muscle injuries. It's either a hamstring, it's gonna be a calf, it's gonna be a quad. Like it's those at that age, it's the type of injuries you're gonna start getting,
yeah,
right?
exactly. And then
Is
defensively, you've had Stones in and out. Diaz missed a
Stones has played
couple
like four
weeks.
games all
I
year.
know, right?
Even
Stones
when they
missed.
say he's healthy, he's not even on the bench.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Diaz missed a couple of games. Walker's been an absolute tragedy this season. And him as well hasn't lost his legs, but is getting up in age. So I think it's time for a quote unquote rebuild this at least summer transfer window. I don't think you January you never not much really comes out. Um, I know Pep signed 2 years. It's just his I guess philosophy of soccer has become stale, and I think that's what showed in November. Right, there was nothing new to it, which I think's translated to like on the pitch. Like I watch all the games. It was some of the most boring shit to watch. Right, it was a lesser version of the soccer they've always played, which is what's it called? Which is possession, but they just attacking threat. It never felt like there was anything.
is Phil Foden
That's
exist?
another. That's the thing. He has been healthy. I
Is
know
he
he missed
alive?
a couple weeks at the beginning of the season due to illness, but
But to have 0 goals on the year or whatever,
yeah,
it's crazy.
it's a two-way thing. I don't think he's doing enough himself. Like, give it like you're winning PFA Player of the Year, regardless if you're getting the opportunity or not. You with whatever he has been given, he should be doing more. But that also coming off a season like that, and then
Shouldn't be starting on the
first
bench.
game of the season, I believe, I could be wrong, he didn't have an illness. I think it was game week 2 plus. How are you not starting? Like, I understand the need for depth, but you have PFA Player of the Year and he's a rotation player. How the hell does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
It's weird. It's very weird, and you heard Pep talking about, oh, well, give me my players. Don't even get me started on that shit. Don't get me started on that because you got Pep talking about not having players. First of all, you get whatever player you want. Secondly, this is why he's not better than Carlo Ancelotti because Carlo Ancelotti last season had bear injuries, and Ancelotti wasn't like giving my players. What did he do? He went out. He won Champions League, and he won the La Liga. So
Actually, they lost today to
yeah, they lost today
Athletic
2-1
Club.
to Bilbao.
Yeah.
So I'm not hearing that Pep. I'm not hearing that you
No, they
don't have
should still
players.
be winning, and the teams they were coming up against were teams that were fighting for the league that they should be grabbing
Exactly.
points.
And the talent you have more talented players in Nottingham Forest. And
The
Nottingham
bench players
Forest,
are 70 million.
yeah,
Matthias
exactly.
Nunes was bought for how much? 65?
And
Exactly.
he was one of the best players on the pitch because he actually finally got time to start. Now, I still don't think the quality's there for him to be a City player, but with the roster we were going out with, he was doing pretty solid.
Wait,
Look, I will always stand by Pep. He got you. He got us first Champions League, Centurions, 4-peat. Like, you know what I mean? But I think there needs to be somewhat of a philosophy change, and I think this is the year we kind of realize it because look, I think we've really upped our academy game. If you look at our transfers, we've made a lot of great sales from them. Cole Palmer, you're getting 47 million, which to this day was
I
a
don't think that's a
horrible
great
sale.
sale. I think,
No, it
yeah.
wasn't a good sale, but the quality we've been creating from
Oh,
our academy. You had
what did he call him?
Liam Delap this year, who's doing great with Ipswich, right? We're creating quality players. I think our philosophy now needs to continue with that and bring them into that first team, right? Kind of rein it in a bit. Like we still have that international presence, so you're still going to bring in those international players, but there's a lot of talent we are growing now, right? And you look in the past, our academy also had players like Sancho, Foden and
Joey
Foden.
did with
They
Chelsea.
were together, right? So
Yeah.
the quality's there. It's just it sucks because you have that win now mentality, which sometimes doesn't allow room for these academy players to break through into the first team, which is what happened with Palmer. And I'll be honest, we regret that.
Yeah, and as it pertains to the rest of the Prem, how do you guys feel? You know, Liverpool top of the league. Arne Slot's Liverpool team looks fantastic.
Yeah.
Arsenal's still Arsenal. Saka's having probably his best season, I would argue.
Statistically,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ruben Amorim taking over Man U. They look better.
They do.
Still have a lot of work to do, but
they
definitely look better than they did under.
I think it's going to really help their strikers with the new coach.
Yeah.
It seems like
to Arsenal today,
but again, like
big game, like it's third game, like it's hard to like win against a top team right away. Like your system's not even implemented yet, and you're trying to go up against these guys at the top of the table.
But
it's bound to lose.
But outside of tactically speaking, they also look like they want to be there now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's that kind of change.
Well, yeah.
They have talent. They have the talent.
Yeah.
The guys there are, Matthias de Ligt is 23 years old, 24 years old. And he is a very good center back. He's going to find himself. Lenny Yoro made his first appearance today. Yeah. Right? Like, he's a young dude.
Has been killing it.
Yeah. He's been so good. He's been fantastic. So, I think progression is there. I think they're going to do good. I think they'll have an opportunity or be close to qualifying for Europe. I know they haven't. I know they're still a little bit behind. I believe they're like within the 7 to 10 range right now, if I remember correctly.
They're 11th actually.
Okay. So I think they can make a push late because I don't think they're too far back in terms of points from a European spot.
No.
And obviously, we have to see how the coefficient goes and which teams are going to get the 5th Champions League spot. I think Italy looks pretty good so far as it pertains to that.
I think it's Italy and England right now, right?
Top 2. Yeah. The Inter's been doing well with Italy the second. But, yeah, no, I think Man U has an opportunity to make a push late. And like you said, Barry, like guys are seemingly wanting to be there. Bruno Fernandes has looked like Bruno Fernandes again. Marcus Rashford in last week's game against Everton looked like Marcus Rashford again. And it's just going to take time. It's just going to take time. And then, if they can get Gyökeres from Sporting CP.
You got to start selling, though, because you got Xerxes and Højlund, you got to sell.
Hell yeah.
If you can get these two guys who had so much promise when you first bought them to get form.
Do you think either of those guys can be as good as Gyökeres?
Gyökeres is 27. These guys are 22, right? So it's like
there's Xerxes already linked to going to Juve in January anyway.
Yeah, but I think that was because of the Ten Hag situation and that he wasn't really playing, he wasn't scoring. If he's producing, I doubt they'll let him go.
Yeah.
Like, I think the only reason why they were in talks of letting these guys go was because they weren't scoring goals, and that's what they were brought in to do. But last week he scored 2 goals. Like, you don't know, like, if it builds, right? If momentum is a big thing in like their form. Like, if they start scoring, why would they need a new striker?
Yeah.
But
like he has a Sporting link, which is why it's always going to be in the papers. But like out of everything. Like that is not the first choice position they need to go for. It's left back, right? Luke Shaw just can't stay healthy, and you're playing Diallo's solid.
Diallo's been good.
But it's an out of position, right? Like
but they can also just run 3 center backs.
Yeah.
They can. I don't know, but that's the thing. I don't know the formation that he wants to run with, but you still need a true left back in the roster.
I don't know. I like Diallo.
Nastia came back last week.
Yeah, fair.
First game in 3 years or whatever.
First game in 3 years, right? Like, maybe he proves it this season, but let's say he's just going along with the motions. Like, I would still rather a true left back at that position. You also have Casemiro's legs are gone, so you need a partner to Ugarte. Eriksen's getting up in age, so I personally would look for a true left back.
Mainu is definitely going to be that guy that replaces Casemiro, right?
So you're going to have like a Mainu Ugarte in the back.
Yeah, probably. That's what I would. It would make sense to me. Like this guy was starting for England as a
Yeah,
teenager. Like
that's what
he
I'm
has the
saying.
potential to be.
But like you have your 1 and 2, right?
Yeah.
But now you're Ericsson, who's Casemiro has no legs left. Ericsson's up in age. You don't have
Yeah.
anyone else. You got Mason
Oh no,
Mount,
the depth in the mid, he can't stay healthy to save his life.
and even at
Just
that,
like
he's not
Luke
a deep
Shaw.
lying play midfielder,
No, he's an attacking mid. Yeah.
right? So there's some pieces that they need before chasing a striker, I would say.
Yeah. And the big thing is Amadou Diallo has been playing really well since like he's been
Yeah.
introduced into the starting lineup. So they have someone on the right now. It helps going forward. He has the pace and the dribbling ability to bring in the strikers.
That's true. Chelsea, they beat Southampton 5-1 today.
Yeah.
They're the most shocking team for me, and
Really?
because it was before the season started, it was all the talks of they have too much squad, they have too big, their roster's too big. Like their team list was like 55 players in the training camp. Like
But I
no
think
one knew.
Maresca's done a great job of.
Absolutely. But I'm saying going into the season, it was like a big question mark, like which guy's going to start in week out. Even the first couple of weeks, the attacking positions were always like flip flopping. You didn't know if it was going to be Nkuku. You didn't know it was going to be Madawa. You didn't know starting week in, week out. It kind of seems like everything's fallen into place and they've been playing well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he created his 2 rosters, right? He found the balance he needed. He knows his upfront roster is Palmer, Madueke, Neto, and Jackson, and then he knows his second roster up front is Mudryk, João Felix, and Kuku, and there's another one, and I'm forgetting now. But you see what I'm saying? He has his double lineup up front, and he knows he can't play all of them because like yeah, they may be the best players on his roster, but you right, you need defensive prowess as well.
Yeah.
Right, so he perfectly balanced it, and I know we gave him some knocks on maybe some man management in terms of how he dealt with some of the players, but at the same time he also said like, "F you, this is my lineup," and that's kind of maybe what they needed, right? When you have a roster of 55 players, you can't please all of them. You know some of them are not going to play. He said, "No, this is my lineup," and the results backed it up, right? So you cannot go against the fact that he's like, I guess he pushed some players out of some of the even first team training.
And Liverpool. Are we surprised by how good they've been this season?
Yeah. So I knew they were always going to be good. I didn't think how seamless the transition would be.
Yeah.
Like Jurgen Klopp, like when you think Liverpool, Jurgen Klopp is now one of those names, right? So to go from a coach who got them the Premier League and everything, and it looked not a downward spiral, but it was, you know, I mean, it was a couple knocks down as coming to the end of his Liverpool career. The fact that, and some players were kind of like in and out, you know what I mean? Again, it could be all fluff from the media, and then transition to this. I was just surprised that it was just a full, simple first place transition, right?
Yeah, and it's crazy because they don't spend as much money as the Manchester teams do. They're not as active as an Arsenal or a Chelsea, and somehow, some way, you know, their guys, Van Dijk, Mohamed Salah, like these guys aged like fine wine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a
Yeah.
great balance of veterans and young guys. You know, Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, Darwin Nunez, you know, Luis Diaz, and all these Ibrahima Konate. Like these, they just find a way to do it, and it also helps that you know Mo Salah is probably the leading Ballon d'Or candidate right now. So I gotta tip my cap. You know, he's just, and they better damn sign him to a contract.
Yeah, that's
crazy. I don't know what this. He's talking about how they haven't even approached him yet. Are we smoking?
Which is wild because then after that came out, they offered Van Dijk a contract.
Like, what are we smoking on? Like, you go and get Mohamed Salah and keep him at any cost.
Yeah.
Because he's shown no signs of slowing down at all.
No.
No
Well, we
signs.
And he's
thought
got
we
no
we
hair.
thought, and then never mind.
Yeah.
Hey, it looks like
It's
that
that
new
haircut.
hairline. Really, yeah, it's
It's
the new
that,
hairline.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's the haircut, bro. He's shit better than
No,
my shit.
honestly, like I don't like, and we know Liverpool sometimes slows down at the end of the season. Like,
Yeah.
I just don't see it this year.
Yeah.
It's
All right. So who do we have winning Prem? So as of right now,
I mean, it
Liverpool.
looks. Yeah, at this point they're
I'm gonna
7
say
points
Liverpool
ahead.
as well.
Right.
Yeah, like it's tough to see them dropping 7 points.
Yeah, I agree.
Right. Liverpool for sure.
Serie A.
Oof, I don't want to talk.
Before we get Serie A, Real Madrid, Barca. What are our thoughts on that? Because obviously, Barca
Barca started hot and dipped a
kind of
little.
tailed off. Lamine Yamal was out for a little bit.
Yeah.
He's back, and you see his
And
assist yesterday?
Rafinha.
Oh my god, he's killing it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Really and truly,
After
wow.
all the rumors this offseason about them getting
Nico Williams.
and then all the
Good thing they
pressure he
did.
had to just to come in and basically told everyone to fuck off, and he's having the best season of his career. So
Yeah.
tip the cap to him. Like, you guys been killing it. And
yeah. He's also a Ballon d'Or candidate, top 5 for sure.
I think he's
for sure gets
5
nomination.
goal or assist contributions away from Vinny Jr.'s of last season already. Or so that's what I saw today, which is crazy.
No, it's phenomenal, and I'm not. We all know I'm not a Barca guy, but it's hard not to root for Rafinha and Lamine. You know what I mean? Hard not to root for those guys.
Yeah.
And Lewandowski's been killing it as well.
Yeah.
So, and as for Madrid, we all knew it was going to be tough to figure out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Kylian Mbappe misses another penalty today.
I don't know why they're giving him the penalties.
Yeah.
Who'd he give it to? I would leave, personally. I would give it to Jude.
Yeah, I was thinking Jude.
I'd say when Luka's on, I'd give it to Modric.
Well, yeah.
Like when he's on, but he's not on every game, right? He doesn't play every game anymore. So
personally, I'm giving it to Jude.
Yeah, at this point,
you saw Jude. He was calm, cool, collected in the Euro. You know what I mean? When they went to penalties,
or even Rodrigo. I feel like.
Yeah, but once again, you're talking about someone being on. Rodrigo might not be on in the situation that arises, right?
That's true.
Whereas Jude is game in.
Jude's on every game. Yeah,
exactly. So I would lean towards that. Serie A.
Yeah.
Barry, I'll let
you do it in. Sorry, just let's do it in a few minutes because I got to go.
Yeah. I don't want to talk about it. It's brutal.
No, like we could.
Listen, Roma. Listen, like you said, 2 points off of relegation. De Rossi should have never been sacked.
Yeah,
that's
the whole reason.
It just started from the get-go.
And also it's like they spent money for the first time in a while, but it's like, why didn't you spend this money when Jose Mourinho was there? Right, like that was a guy who could have been. You could have helped him out a ton by giving him money, and you waited far too long to do it. So that's another aspect of it. But we don't need to dive in deep.
I think the big thing was the players never wanted to be coached by Juric. Like, it was never something they thought would happen because it was only 4 games in.
Yeah.
And I don't think they ever took to him because they never wanted him there. Like, he was never in the position where the players would play for him and want to play for him.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want the coaching change in the first place.
Yeah.
And now with Ranieri, the results haven't been there. We've tied and lost 2, but the way we played is so much different than how we played it under Europe. And it's more like against Spurs, at least for the majority of the second half, we deserved to come out on top.
Yeah.
We just couldn't hold our lines, and we scored 4 goals that were called off for offside. Like, we outplayed them in the second half. We just couldn't hold. Dobby couldn't hold his line to save his life that game. And then against Atalanta, they're the most.
You're playing one of the best teams in Serie A.
not even Serie A in the world right now. They're one of the most informed teams in the world.
And they got a big game next week against Real Madrid in Champions League.
Good
and
timing
against
to play them.
and against AC Milan this weekend, right? Like, yeah, like,
Yeah.
like they are one of the best teams in the world.
Why do we have to play them? Oh my God, leave us alone, bruh.
Like,
We can't get 2 weeks of shitty teams that we gotta play.
Bro, I played the last 4 games. I can't remember who we played first, but then it was Napoli, Tottenham, and then Atalanta. You're not giving Ranieri a good shot to win any of his first 3 games.
No.
Like,
and listen, speaking of Atalanta, like Gasperini is he's a genius. He's a wizard. And I really do, I really do hope that they have success in Champions League. I really do. Like, it's fun,
like the year they did against, when they were what 5 minutes away from going to the semifinal, like PSG, like they're when they're on, they're the most exciting team in Italy for sure.
Well, it's because they don't adopt the Italian philosophy, right?
I would say they're the Dortmund of Serie A in terms of they're not going to go out there and buy the best players.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. They churn out young prospects. They coach them up. They make them reach their peak levels that they can reach. Obviously, you look at a guy like Bastoni who came from Atalanta as well. Like, they just use the young talent that they have and get the absolute best out of them, and you sell them off for whatever you want to sell. Like Scalvini will eventually get sold off, to whatever team.
It personally with De Catalar.
Yeah.
Like the way this man's been playing.
Why did you need to bring that up, though? Why did you need to bring that up?
It's okay.
Why do we have to rehash about how?
We can talk about Zaniolo scoring against us and then celebrating like we won
the World Cup. Why do we need to talk about how we fucked up by firing Maldini? Why do we have to do that? I'm still hoping that he gets the Saudi project going on, so that way he can get Saudi to buy AC Milan, and then me and Paul can become, we got that oil money.
But De Catalar's been looking like a stud this year.
He's freaking fantastic.
And assists.
Retegui, De Catalar, Lookman's been fucking fantabulous. Like, it's crazy. They're insane. And then Napoli, like Serie A is.
Even Fiorentina has been on form. Moise Kean went from no goal season to now tied for second.
But is who's coaching Fiorentina now again? I can't remember. It's not the guy that was kept bringing them to the Conference League finals, is it?
No, they changed coach.
No.
Italiano
that guy's at Bologna now.
Yeah, Italiano went to Bologna. They have a good young coach. I can't remember his name.
Fiorentina, once again, Yassine Adli. You see what happens when Yassine Adli gets playing time? He looks fucking fantastic.
It's Palladino?
Yeah, Palladino. But before what happened last week with Bove, he was having a great year. Like it's super sad to see what happened to him. He looks like he's in, like they said, he's still in intensive care, but everything looks good. They're just running.
So all you can do is pray for him and hope that not even just to come back to soccer, just to be okay and be functional and be
a
healthy.
Functional human being. Yeah, but he was having a great year for them too.
Yeah.
So it's like sucks to see that for them.
Yeah. As for Juve, Inter, any surprises, any disappointment so far early in this season for you guys? Honestly, for me, Vlahovic, like Selim, I don't think he's doing it for them. I just don't think he's a Serie A striker. Like I think he would,
Premier League striker.
Yeah, I think he would find more success in Germany.
I agree. Germany would be a big
in the Prem. Like he just seems to be more built for that style of play.
He's not built for a build-up play. Like he's not. He needs to be an out-and-out striker, and his finishing is a little weary at times.
Yeah,
but like he's not a guy that's gonna help come down, like build into the play. Like that's just not who he is.
Well, look at Milan, right? Like Morata and Tammy Abraham are perfect for what we want to do.
Yeah.
Right, you see, Tammy's like creating chances for our wingers, right? Like
that's what he's always done. He did that with us too.
Exactly, and that's the type of, like you said, style that the Serie A needs. If Vlahovic would be better suited if he was to play in Italy, Juve. I'm sorry, Inter. If he played with
Yeah,
Inter, I'm sure he would be doing a lot better because that they
put
have
him
the two
next to Thuram.
strikers.
Yeah,
Like he would
Yeah.
be better suited for a system like that. I don't think Juve and hence why they're trying to go get Xerxes
yeah.
in
The
the
guy who
in
can play with the ball at
the
his feet and help build the
yeah,
play. And that's what
and
Xerxes is
what did he
good at.
say? He said, "I'm not a 9, I'm not a 10, and I'm a 9.5." Right? That's what he said. Champions League action next week. We'll come back to you next week with more of a dive into the NFL. We didn't get to no NBA today, but we will get to NBA next week and some more soccer. So, well, thank you for listening to episode 19. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll be back next week. Deuces.